basically this robot currently thinks it's a car.
It's going to have a midlife crisis at some point.
It thinks it's a car. Some of the earlier demos, actually, we were talking about potentially doing them outside in the parking lot because that's where all of the computer vision was like working out of the box.
That's funny.
Instead of like inside.
Hey everyone, Alex Ionescu here. Welcome to Investor's Guide to the Galaxy. I did a video cut of the interview with Lex Fridman with ex-Tesla employee Andrej Karpathy when they talk about Tesla humanoid robot. Boy oh boy, there is some juicy stuff here. Let's dive right into it. Tesla stock price on 31st of October is up 1.52%. Today in pre-market is down 0.6%. Year to date is down 43%. I'm gonna give you a rundown of the key points in this video at the beginning, so you don't have to watch all the video if you don't have time for it. We will have humanoid robots in factories in 10 years. Who else is gonna build humanoid robots at scale? Tesla is the only company that can do that today. World is designed for humans, so basically that's the form factor you should invest in when making a robot. If you think transportation, like Tesla FSD, full self-driving, is a large market, try physical labor. That's insane. Building a robot is actually not that different than building a car. A lot of work for Optimus bot has been copy-paste from full self-driving software for cars. Basically now the robot thinks it's a car. It's gonna have a midlife crisis someday. If you have a goal, let's say let's build 1 million humanoid robots and you are not Tesla, that's a lot to ask. If you are Tesla, it's actually not that crazy. Start making money with a bad product. Don't wait for it to be perfect. That also motivates the team to make the product better, faster, so people can enjoy it more. Now the video cut of the interview.
But you mentioned humanoid robots, so what do you think about Optimus, about Tesla Bot? Do you think we'll have robots in the factory and in the home in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years?
Yeah. I think it's a very hard project. I think it's going to take a while. But who else is going to build humanoid robots at scale?
Yeah.
And I think it is a very good form factor to go after because, like I mentioned, the world is designed for humanoid form factor. These things would be able to operate our machines. They would be able to sit down in chairs, potentially even drive cars. Basically, the world is designed for humans. That's the form factor you want to invest into and make work over time. I think there's another school of thought, which is, okay, pick a problem and design a robot to it. But actually designing a robot and getting a whole data engine and everything behind it to work is actually an incredibly hard problem. So it makes sense to go after general interfaces that, they are not perfect for any one given task, but they actually have the generality of just with a prompt with English able to do something across. And so I think it makes a lot of sense to go after a general interface in the physical world. And I think it's a very difficult project. I think it's going to take time. But I see no other company that can execute on that vision. I think it's going to be amazing. Basically physical labor. Like if you think transportation is a large market, try physical labor. It's like insane.
Well, but it's not just physical labor. To me, the thing that's also exciting is the social robotics. So the relationship we'll have on different levels with those robots.
Yeah.
That's why I was really excited to see Optimus. People have criticized me for the excitement, but I've worked with a lot of research labs that do humanoid legged robots, Boston Dynamics, Unitree, there's a lot of companies that do legged robots, but that's the elegance of the movement is a tiny, tiny part of the big picture. So integrating the two big exciting things to me about Tesla doing humanoid or any legged robots is clearly integrating it into the data engine. Mm-hmm. So the data engine aspect. So the actual intelligence for the perception and the control and the planning and all that kind of stuff, integrating into this the fleet that you mentioned, right? And then speaking of fleet, the second thing is the mass manufacture. Just knowing culturally driving towards a simple robot that's cheap to produce at scale. Yeah. And doing that well, having experience to do that well, that changes everything. That's why that's a very different culture and style than Boston Dynamics, who, by the way, those robots are just the way they move. It's like it'll be a very long time before Tesla can achieve the smoothness of movement. But that's not what it's about. It's about the entirety of the system, like we talked about, the data engine and the fleet. And that's super exciting. Even the initial sort of models, but that too was really surprising. That in a few months you can get a prototype.
Yep. And the reason that happened very quickly is, as you alluded to, there's a ton of copy paste from what's happening in the autopilot.
Yes.
A lot. The amount of expertise that like came out of the woodworks at Tesla for building the human robot was incredible to see. Like basically Elon said at one point we're doing this, and then next day basically like all these CAD models started to appear, and people talking about like the supply chain and manufacturing.
Yeah.
And people showed up with like screwdrivers and everything like the other day and started to like put together the body, and I was like, whoa, like all these people exist at Tesla, and fundamentally building a car is actually not that different from building a robot. The same, and that is true not just for the hardware pieces, and also let's not forget hardware not just for a demo, but manufacturing of that hardware at scale is like a whole different thing. But for software as well, basically this robot currently thinks it's a car.
It's going to have a midlife crisis at some point.
It thinks it's a car. Some of the earlier demos, actually, we were talking about potentially doing them outside in the parking lot, because that's where all of the computer vision was like working out of the box.
That's funny.
Instead of like inside. But all the operating system, everything just copy pastes. Computer vision mostly copy pastes. I mean, you have to retrain the neural nets, but the approach and everything, and data engine and offline trackers and the way we go about the occupancy tracker and so on, everything copy pastes. You just need to retrain the neural nets. And then the planning control, of course, has to change quite a bit. But there's a ton of copy paste from what's happening at Tesla. And so if you were to go with the goal of like, okay, let's build 1 million humanoid robots, and you're not Tesla, that's a lot to ask. If you're Tesla, it's actually like, it's not that crazy.
And then the follow-up question is then how difficult, just like we're driving, how difficult is the manipulation task, such that it can have an impact at scale? I think, depending on the context, the really nice thing about robotics is that unless you're doing manufacturing and that kind of stuff, is there's more room for error.
Yep.
Driving is so safety critical, and so that and also time critical. Like a robot is allowed to move slower, which is nice.
Yes. I think it's going to take a long time, but the way you want to structure the development is you need to say, okay, it's going to take a long time. How can I set up the product development roadmap so that I'm making revenue along the way? I'm not setting myself up for a 0-1 loss function where it doesn't work until it works. You don't want to be in that position. You want to make it useful almost immediately, and then you want to slowly deploy it and
At scale,
generalize
hopefully.
it at scale. And you want to set up your data engine, your improvement loops, the telemetry, the evaluation, the harness, and everything. And you want to improve the product over time incrementally, and you're making revenue along the way. That's extremely important, because otherwise you cannot build these large undertakings. Just like don't make sense economically, and also from the point of view of the team working on it, they need the dopamine along the way. They're not just going to make a promise about this being useful. This is going to change the world in 10 years when it works. This is not where you want to be. You want to be in a place like I think Autopilot is today, where it's offering increased safety and convenience of driving today. People pay for it, people like it, people purchase it. And then you also have the greater mission that you're working towards.
Mm-hmm. And you see that, so the dopamine for the team, that was a source of happiness.
Yes,
and
100%.
satisfaction.
You're deploying this, people like it, people drive it, people pay for it, they care about it. There's all these YouTube videos. Your grandma drives it. She gives you feedback. People like it, people engage with it. You engage with it. Huge.
Do people that drive Teslas like recognize you and give you love? Like, hey, thanks for the for this nice feature that it's doing.
Yeah, I think the tricky thing is like some people really love you. Some people, unfortunately, like you're working on something that you think is extremely valuable, useful, etc. Some people do hate you. There's a lot of people who like hate me and the team and the whole project. Mm-hmm. And I think
are they Tesla drivers?
In many cases, they're not actually. Some people are also very negative and very vocal, so they're very prominently featured. But actually, there's a ton of people who are cheerleaders, but they're silent cheerleaders. And when you talk to people just in the world, they will all tell you, oh, it's amazing, it's great. Especially like people who understand how difficult it is to get this stuff working. Like people who have built products and makers, entrepreneurs. Like making this work and changing something is incredibly hard. Those people are more likely to cheerlead you.
If you think ahead into the future, Tesla can build all sorts of robots that help with labor in all fields of work. Not only humanoid robots, but big industrial robots that maybe can build houses. If Tesla masters vision and they have factories where they can build physical stuff, they can do anything. They can solve any problem in this world and at scale. Think of that. Let that sink in. I'd like to know your opinion on all of this. Please leave a comment below. If you like this video, please smash that like button so that other people like you see this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. I appreciate all of you that watch my videos. See you next time.